All right, guys. It's almost midnight, West Coast time on Thursday. The last 3 days have been extremely long days, work-wise. Uh, Today, I left my apartment at 7 a.m. I got home at 9 p.m. And in the middle of that, today, we got the absolutely joyous news that a Manhattan jury, 12 people, 12 citizens of Manhattan, New York City, convicted Donald Trump on all 34 counts, felonies that he was facing in the criminal trial that's been going on for the last 2 months. Today has been an absolute roller coaster of a day. The last 2 months have been an absolute roller coaster. And I've been trying to kind of let it sink in. Donald Trump is now a convicted felon on 34 felony counts. Donald Trump will be a convicted felon from today until the day he dies. And the Republican Party is still going to nominate him to be their candidate for president of the United States. I've said it many, many times before. Our institutions were never going to save us. It was always going to be up to us, the voters, to vote him out this coming November in overwhelming numbers. The House was never going to save us. The Senate was never going to save us. The courts were not going to save us. The Supreme Court was never going to save us. Joe Biden was never going to save us from Donald Trump. It was always, always, always going to be up to us to save the United States of America from a second term from Donald Trump. That's just reality. I hope that we do that. And this verdict today, a unanimous verdict on each of all 34 felony counts. They convicted him on every single count. Almost 36 felonies. Will help. It will help. Those convictions are not going to hurt the people in this country who care about the United States of America remaining a democratically governed constitutional republic this election day. From the very beginning of this case, I had faith that this jury was going to convict him. I'm incredibly grateful that I was proven right in that belief today. That is not to say that I haven't been scared shitless for the last 2 months. Oh, God. It's over. It's over. This jury of 12 citizens took their job seriously. They did their job. They showed up every single day. This jury was in place for almost 2 months, and they did not lose a single juror. This jury showed up every day. They took their responsibility seriously. They took their responsibility seriously, and they delivered. This jury delivered. They listened to the evidence. They listened to the witnesses. They examined the evidence. And they did the right thing. This jury of 12 strangers, 12 anonymous strangers to Donald Trump. They did their job. And it's like every time, I mean, I've been a licensed practicing trial attorney for over 25 years. I've seen juries go sideways. This jury met their responsibility. This jury met the challenge that was in front of them. And this jury did the right thing, given the evidence that was presented by the prosecutors in this case. This jury did the right thing, given the evidence that was provided to them. And I want to thank this team of prosecutors. They over-delivered. Once the trial got started, this team of prosecutors over-delivered every single day. They met and exceeded the expectations that everybody in this country had for them. And I mean, my comment section on all of my TikToks for the last 2 months has overwhelmingly been naysayers. It's going to be a hung jury. They're going to acquit. It's going to be a hung jury. They're going to acquit. I'm going to gloat for just 1 second. Every single one of those motherfuckers was wrong. Every single one of those fucking dipshits who doesn't have a law degree, but they knew what this jury was going to do. They were fucking wrong. And I was right. I was right from the beginning. I had faith that this jury was going to convict Donald Trump, and this jury did exactly that. And it's like I'm finding myself over the last several hours since the verdict was announced. And it was just like count 1 guilty, 2 guilty, 3 guilty, 4 guilty, 5's guilty. It was bam, bam. It was like a goddamn machine gun of guilty verdicts. I've just been trying to catch my breath, and I've been super busy in all of that. I mean, I had a full day of work. I had like a half-hour break, and then I had to go to band practice. And band practice was amazing, and it was great. I mean, and it was such a release tonight. It was such a release to be able to just beat the ever-loving shit out of my drums tonight. And I did that, and it was wonderful. But then I got home a couple hours ago, and I've just been trying to kind of catch my breath and take in the gravity of what happened today. For the first time in our nation's history, a former president of the United States was convicted on felonies. On felonies. 34 felonies. Because of shit that he did leading up to the 2016 election to try to improperly influence that election. It may have worked. It may have worked. I mean, people keep saying that we are living through history. I'm tired because this version of history is fucking shitty. I am tired of living through shitty history. I did not envision spending my mid-50s fighting against fascism, authoritarianism, theocracy, white Christian nationalism, racism, bigotry, homophobia, transphobia, misogyny. I did not envision spending my mid-50s in the United States of America fighting against those things. And I'm guessing that a lot of people who are going to see this video feel the same way. I've been right on my predictions up to this point. And I'm going to reiterate a prediction that I've made previously. He's not going to win. There are more of us than there are of his supporters. There are just more of us than there are of them. He's not going to win. Donald Trump is going to prison. When Donald Trump's life comes to an end, he will experience that inside of a prison cell. There won't be any last words. There won't be any last meal. There won't be any fanfare. He's going to shit himself and have a massive heart attack at 3 o'clock in the morning when nobody is looking. And that's that. He's going to be gone. He will be gone. And we will clean up the mess that he is going to leave behind. His movement has exceeded him. His movement has moved beyond him. And we will outlast them. We will outvote them. We will outlive them. And we will beat them. They're not going to win. There are more of us than there are of them. And I want you to trust that. I want you to understand that. I want you to let that in. There are more of us than there are of them. Today was an amazing, historic day. And I understand that. And it's challenging for me since that verdict was announced. It's challenging for me to let that in. It's challenging for me to just stop for a moment and take a deep breath and let that in. He is a convicted felon on 34 counts, 34 felonies. And it's challenging for me to let that in and let it settle and let it become real. It's going to take a few days. It's going to take a few days. But I want you guys to maintain your hope, because we got a big fucking boost for that hope today. We got a big fucking boost for that hope today. Accountability has landed, and Donald Trump is going to prison. Donald Trump is going to die in prison. The days of his freedom are numbered, and that clock is ticking. And what's he going to fucking do? Hand the reins over to Don Jr.? Eric Trump Jr.? I don't think so. I really, really don't think so. Today was an absolutely historic day for this country. And it was a historic day for the people in this country that are going to stop him at the ballot box in November. Our institutions were never going to save us. It was always going to be up to us. And today is a huge step in getting that done. Anyway, I haven't slept in a couple of days. And of course, you know, I have a couple of hearings in the morning starting at 8:30 in the morning, but I get to do them on Zoom. So, okay, I'll get up, do those, and go back to bed. it's it's been quite a ride, guys. It has been quite a ride, but we won. We won. He is a convicted felon from today until the day he dies. He will never, ever, ever shed that label of convicted felon. It's not going to happen. He's a convicted felon from today until the day he dies. So, in a few minutes, it's going to be Friday. I hope everybody has an amazing and safe and joyous and celebratory Friday. And the same thing applies to everybody's weekend. I mean, it's time to celebrate, and we need to just take a breath and let this in and celebrate what happened today, because today was accountability. For the first time in that fat, rancid, corpulent fuck's 78 years, today was the first day that he experienced accountability. The very first day. And there is more accountability coming, because he's going to lose the election in November, and then his other 3 criminal trials are going to go forward, and he's going to get convicted in those as well. And he is going to be sentenced to prison, and he is going to die in prison. That's what's coming. And that's why he's freaking out, because he knows it. He knows that today was a game changer in his existence, a game changer unlike anything that he has ever experienced before in his life. Criminal justice landed on his fucking head today. And that's never happened to him before. He's always been 2 steps ahead. He was not 2 steps ahead today. And it landed hard. And he knows that. He knows it. He's dumb, but he's not fucking stupid. He knows that criminal responsibility, liability, accountability landed today on him. After the sentence was read, all the attorneys went up to have a little sidebar with the judge, and he was sitting at defense counsel table by himself. And that's where he's going to be for the rest of his life. He is going to be by himself with this on his head. He is a convicted felon. He is going to prison. He's going to die in prison. And on that note, I hope everybody has an amazing weekend, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow.